The story revolves around a boy named Kim Junwoo, a socially awkward and unattractive guy who has no luck with girls. One morning, he nervously carries his bag to college, and as he passes by his friend's house, he notices the empty living room. Trying to avoid any interaction, he quietly moves towards the main gate. Upon opening the door, his eyes catch sight of a woman hanging clothes in the sun. This lady is Mi-kyung, who is Kim's friend's mother. A few years back, Mi-kyung lost her husband and now manages a salon to support her family. Kim harbors a deep-seated fear of her, making any conversation extremely uncomfortable for him, a fear whose origin will be revealed later in the story. When Mi-kyung notices Kim, he hurriedly greets her and attempts to leave. Curious about his behavior, Mi-kyung asks why he's in such a rush, but Kim stumbles over his words and hastily departs, leaving her puzzled. As Kim walks away, his mind drifts to the reason behind his nervousness around Mi-kyung. The story then flashes back to a particular night when Kim had gone downstairs to fetch water. On his way back, he noticed that the light in Mi-kyung's room was still on. Assuming she was simply watching TV late at night, his curiosity led him to peek inside. What he witnessed, however, left him utterly shocked. Mi-kyung was watching an adult video. In disbelief, Kim peeked again, only to see her engaging in self-pleasure. This unexpected sight stirred unfamiliar desires within him, and in his flustered state, he accidentally made a noise. Realizing she had been noticed, Mi-kyung turned, and Kim, consumed by embarrassment, fled the scene. Returning to the present, Kim continues his walk to college until a sudden hard slap from behind startles him. Annoyed, he turns around to see Min-ji, his friend's younger sister. Frustrated, Kim starts scolding her, but Min-ji quickly apologizes. She then hands him a tiffin box, explaining that her mother sent it because he had left without eating breakfast. This gesture makes Kim feel a bit uneasy, and after handing over the tiffin, Min-ji leaves while Kim heads off to college. In class, Kim remains distracted, his mind still preoccupied with the events involving his aunt. Suddenly, a small rubber object hits him, causing him to turn around in irritation. The culprit is Young Bin, Kim's close friend, known for his flirtatious nature and carefree lifestyle. Young Bin, who often avoids staying at his own house, prefers spending most of his time outside. After class, Young Bin approaches Kim, suggesting they go out for a drink. Later, as they sit in a bar, Young Bin casually brings up the topic of Mi-kyung's salon, asking why Kim never goes there for a haircut. Feeling cornered, Kim quickly makes an excuse, claiming his hair doesn't need trimming yet and adding that Mi-kyung doesn't even charge him. This mention of money irritates Young Bin, who argues that since Kim and Young Bin live under the same roof, money shouldn't be a topic of discussion between them. As the night progresses, both friends drink heavily until two girls join their table. Young Bin leans toward Kim, revealing that he has been flirting with one of the girls during his extra classes, and, knowing Kim has little experience with women, he invited her friend to keep Kim company. The girls settle in, and Young Bin eagerly introduces Kim to them. Later that evening, the scene shifts to Young Bin and his girlfriend spending time together at a hotel where his girlfriend romantically talks to him, leading them to engage in physical intimacy. However, the story soon shifts back to earlier that evening. After spending time drinking together, Young Bin informs Kim that it's time to part ways. He leaves with his girlfriend, leaving Kim alone with Chinbin at the bar. Still inexperienced in talking to girls, Kim nervously offers Chinbin a drink to break the ice, but she ignores him and begins to walk away. Kim feels rejected, but just as she walks off, Chinbin stumbles and falls, prompting Kim to rush to her aid. This marks the first time Kim holds a girl's hand, making him feel extremely shy and self-conscious. Chinbin mentions that she needs to go home, and eager to help, Kim asks for her address to arrange a taxi. However, Chinbin doesn't respond and continues walking. After a short distance, she nearly falls again, and Kim quickly catches her, but in doing so, he accidentally grabs her inappropriately. Embarrassed, Kim apologizes, but Chinbin brushes it off and keeps walking. Feeling awkward, Kim follows her. They stop in front of a hotel, where Chinbin, now taking the lead, heads inside. Kim hesitates, his emotions conflicted, but after a brief struggle with his feelings, he musters the courage to embrace her. This sparks a passionate exchange between the two. Meanwhile, in the bathroom, Kim reflects on his experience, imagining various intimate positions with Chinbin as he mentally prepares for their next encounter. The following morning, Kim wakes up to find Chinbin ready to leave. She tells him their time together has ended and that she's going back home. She advises Kim to return home as well, leaving him with a sense of disappointment, especially since she hadn't shared any contact details with him. Later, Kim remembers that Youngbin will be home late, leaving Mikyung alone. With this in mind, he heads home, hoping his aunt is already asleep. However, as he opens her room, Mikyung calls out to him from behind, startling him. She had been sleeping on the sofa. When Kim tries to explain, Mikyung grows suspicious, noticing his nervousness. She also picks up on the smell of alcohol on him and advises him not to drink again. Kim apologizes for his actions, and Mikyung mentions that the bathroom lock downstairs is broken, urging him to be cautious. She tells him to come to the salon tomorrow for a haircut before heading to her room. The next day, Kim gets ready to go to the salon. Meanwhile, we see a girl named Seohan, Youngbin's older sister, who is feeling unwell due to the heat. Seohan works as a nurse and often has night shifts, so she spends a lot of time away from home. When she arrives home, she calls for her mother but learns she's gone to the salon. Thinking that her siblings must also be at college, she decides to change into more comfortable clothes. She feels the need to use the bathroom but discovers that it's locked. Planning to ask Youngbin to fix it later, she proceeds to use the bathroom. While she was using the bathroom, her gaze fell on Kim, and she started scolding him. She told him that when he was using the bathroom, why didn't he lock the door properly? She was still scolding Kim when she left the bathroom. Later, we see Seohan in her room, still scolding Kim but then feeling embarrassed thinking about the little situation. On the other hand, Kim was heading to the salon, feeling like he had made a big mistake and not knowing how to explain it to Seohan. He then arrives at the salon where Mikyung is cleaning. She happily greets him and invites him inside. Kim had a bag hanging on his shoulder, and seeing this, Mikyung tells him to bring the bag to the shampoo room. There's a small misunderstanding, but Mikyung apologizes. She starts washing Kim's hair, and while doing so, she comes a bit too close, making Kim feel a little awkward. After washing his hair, Mikyung calls Kim to cut his hair outside. After a while, she asks him about his haircut, which he likes. When Kim tries to pay her for the haircut, she refuses and tells him to spend that money on taking his girlfriend on a date instead. Afterward, Kim leaves the salon and walks into a narrow alley. There, he takes a deep breath, feeling mentally distressed about the events of the day. He decides to go to the library to study, but remembers that he left his bag at the salon. He worries about possibly doing something wrong with Mikyung, so he heads back to the salon. When he arrives, he calls for his aunt but gets no response. He starts to leave with his bag but hears some noises coming from the shampoo room. He sneaks in to check and gets startled by what he sees. After seeing the scene, Kim quickly runs away. Finally, Kim returns home and starts thinking about what explanation he should give to Seohan and Mikyung for today's events. He quietly enters his room, but there he finds Mikyung sitting. Kim gets nervous, but Mikyung tells him that she needs to talk to him about something important. Kim feels a little relieved as she clarifies that it's about something else. When Seohan returns home, Mikyung leaves the room and tells Seohan that she was talking to Kim about something important. Seohan doesn't ask any further questions and goes to her room that we see Kim, who sneaks into his aunt's room at midnight. She has been waiting for him. Upon seeing him, she tells him that she wants to have a battle with his little one. Kim, feeling embarrassed, agrees to it. However, as soon as Mikyung approaches him, his little one surrenders even before the battle begins. On the other hand, Kim is dreaming about this situation. When he wakes up, he finds himself covered in bloodstains from millions of soldiers, and he doesn't want anyone to know about his weakness. So he washes his clothes in the bathroom in the middle of the night to erase the evidence. Meanwhile, Seohan is unable to sleep and goes downstairs to get some water from the fridge. After Kim cleans up, he feels relieved. However, he realizes he forgot to bring more clothes and is left with only the wet ones. He considers wearing them, but then remembers that everyone must be asleep by now, so he could sneak back to his room. As he peeks out of the bathroom door and sees no one, he quickly runs back to his room. But when he sees the fridge door open, he thinks his friend must have returned home and left it open, so he quickly closes the fridge door. However, his sudden movement startles Seohan, who doesn't like him. She begins to scold him, and as she's yelling at him, she notices his little one, which leaves her speechless. Kim tries to explain, but Seohan, in anger, crushes the water bottle in her hand. She calls him a pervert and starts heading toward her room. Kim tries to explain that it's all a misunderstanding, but she ignores him. Meanwhile, Seohan is in her room, feeling conflicted about her thoughts on Kim, and she becomes embarrassed thinking about his little one. Back in his own room, Kim is recalling the events and feels guilty, thinking Seohan might tell her mother everything and that he'll be kicked out. To avoid this, he considers leaving the house before Mi-kyung embarrasses him. The next morning, he's seen walking outside, unable to sleep all night due to stress. While walking, his friend Yongbin appears and compliments his new haircut. Kim asks him why he didn't return home last night, and Yongbin explains that he was tutoring a girl. Kim, not believing him, jokingly asks how he could tutor a girl when he doesn't even know anything himself. Yongbin then reveals that he finally met his dream girl the previous night, and Kim initially thinks he's talking about Gina. However, Yongbin goes on to explain how he impressed a girl he met at a bar and spent the whole night talking to her. He adds that the girl was so pleased with the private tutoring that she now invites him over whenever she wants. Kim feels uncomfortable hearing this and wonders how his friend is turning his dreams into reality while he himself is still struggling. Yongbin then tells Kim that he won't be coming back home for a few days and asks about the girl Kim met last time. Kim recalls how his past experience with Chun-bin led to an intimate encounter, only for her to leave him right after fulfilling her needs. Snapping out of his thoughts, Kim tells Yongbin that he's moving out. Yongbin, surprised, asks why, but Kim chooses not to explain the incidents with Seohan and his mother, fearing it might ruin their years of friendship. Instead, he remains silent and starts to leave. However, sensing that something is wrong, Yongbin stops Kim and insists that he tell him everything. Later, Kim is seen walking down the street, deep in thought. He realizes that he should inform his aunt first about his decision to move out, as he doesn't want Mi-kyung to hear it from someone else. Since she treated him much like Yongbin did, he wants to ensure she hears it from him directly. Deciding to visit the salon to talk to her, he arrives to find Mi-kyung asleep on the sofa. Kim calls out to her, but she doesn't wake up. As he bends down to pick up a towel that has fallen near her feet, his gaze involuntarily drifts toward them. The sight stirs something within him, but he quickly suppresses the feeling and looks away, not wanting Mi-kyung to misinterpret his actions. Swiftly placing the towel back, he is caught off guard as Mi-kyung suddenly wakes up. Startled, she looks at him, and Kim, equally surprised, quickly explains that he was only helping by picking up the towel. Still groggy, Mi-kyung tells him she must have dozed off. She then asks why he is there. Kim responds that he needs to talk to her about something important. Mi-kyung, in turn, says she also has something to tell him. Kim suggests that she speak first, but she struggles to find the right words due to her exhaustion. Just as she is about to speak, a customer walks in for a haircut. Upon seeing Kim, the customer assumes he is also there for a haircut and offers to return later. However, Mi-kyung stops him, saying she will finish speaking with Kim first before attending to him. Later that evening, Kim waits in his room for Mi-kyung to return. As he hears her footsteps approaching, he feels nervous. When she enters, she sits beside him, and after a long silence, she finally asks why he is there. Kim replies that it's nothing serious. Mi-kyung begins to speak, but struggles to express herself. Gathering her courage, she tells Kim that she needs his help with something. Kim asks what the task is, but Mi-kyung avoids giving a direct answer, leaving him confused. Finally, she reveals that the task involves her little one. Before she can explain further, Kim interrupts, assuming that she is referring to her loneliness and physical needs. He tells her that while he understands she has been alone for a long time, he sees her as a mother figure and cannot fulfill those needs. As he tries to explain, his own emotions begin to surface, making it increasingly difficult to control them. Overwhelmed by the situation, he quickly apologizes for not being able to help and rushes out of the room. Mi-kyung watches him leave through the window. That's all for today, guys. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments. And please, hit that subscribe button. It really helps keep us motivated to bring you more exciting manhwa content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.